Hello everyone, I hope you all are doing well. So in this video, I will go over the practice test or the practice exam for the midterm exam. You should know that there are going to be two quizzes for your midterm exam. The first one is going to be the theory quiz, which has multiple choice questions, around 20 questions, but all from your slides, so purely theory. And then the other quiz basically has 15 questions, which are practical questions. That means you read the question, you have to do something on the server using putty to figure out the correct answer, and then you select the correct answer from the multiple choice that is given to you. And again, the exam is going to be 2 hours long, so make sure you manage your time accordingly. I will just show you how to basically do the quiz for your exam. Again, I've mentioned this before, but the most important topics for your exam include permissions. So there are going to be many questions on permissions. So make sure you practice that as much as you can. Then absolute and relative path. You should know which is an absolute path and which is a relative path, and when to use, not when to use, but like if they ask you to do a question using relative path, you should know how to do it. If they ask you to do it using absolute path, you should know that as well. So again, that is absolute and relative path is important. And then after that, you have Grep. Grep is again important. Practice the questions that have Grep as many times as you can. Then there is word count. That's also important. So basically, many questions will be from these parts. And then make sure you go through the slides as many times as you can so you can remember the theory part of the course as well. So I'll just start with the theory quiz for now. For each of the questions in the quiz, you will see the question number, whether you answered it, and how many marks it is worth. And as you keep answering questions, you will see that on this part, on the side of the screen, the numbers will get highlighted whether or not, according to if or not you've completed the question. And so for the first question, it says identify the correct command to list the process's status. And we know that it is PS, that stands for process's status. So that would be the correct answer in this case. The second one is, which of these are types of editors? All of them are type of editors. Again, this information comes from the slides. So you have to go through the slides in order to know the answers for these questions. So all of them are correct in this case. Then is Windows 7 a single user operating system? True, it is. If the question is Unix a single user operating system, then the answer would be false, because it is multi-user operating system. Okay, so this one is true. And then what command is used to create a new group? It is group add. Again, if it was what command is used to delete a group, it will be group delete. If it's what command is used to add a user, then it's user add. Again, all of this comes from the slides. Which of the following is not a communication channel available for every process? If you go through the slides, we know that there are 3 communication channels: standard input, standard output, and standard error. And which here are STD, ERR, and then standard input and standard output. You can even write it as standard output. You don't have to write it as STD OUT, but that's the short for it. So the only odd one out here is console, so that is the answer. So that is not a communication channel. Okay, in VI, what does a number do when placed after a command? Now this question, we've not practiced anything that is similar to this. So from my, uh, as in my opinion, I think this was probably an old question that just randomly made its way here. We didn't practice it, but in the exam, you will only get content that you have practiced, that is there in the slides, or the information for that question will be available in the manual, and all you have to do is search through the manual. That's it. Nothing that is extremely difficult or extremely new will be there in the exam. Okay, but in this case, in VI, if you put a number after a command, that just signifies that repeat the command the number of times. So if it's 7, it will repeat it 7 times. That's the answer here. Which file contains the password of every user? So passwd stores the information of all users in the sense that it stores the accounts that are there, but the passwords for every user are stored in shadow. So etc shadow is the correct answer in this case. What is the correct command to list files in a directory? Which you should know by this point. If you do not know this, then I'll be very, very worried. So yeah, the correct command for this is ls. Okay, and then once you're done, you have to click on finish attempt, and then it shows you, see, like here you can now see all of them are gray. They have a gray border or something. That means that you've answered those questions. If you didn't answer any of those questions, it will be just white. But here again, you can go back and review. If you want to review, you just click on the question, it takes you back. You can review your answers, and then once you're comfortable with it, you just click on finish attempt, submit all and finish, submit and finish, and then it shows you your grade, how much you've scored and the time you took to complete it. So yeah, that is how you would do the theory exam. Now for this one, which is the practical, again, I forgot to mention this, but the password for these quizzes is Linux, Linux, all small letter. Linux is the password, and then click on start attempt. Now here, it's ideal that you have to open the, what's it called, putty for attempting the practical exam. For the theory exam, for the theory quiz, it will be done using Safe Exam Browser. That means that once you open your quiz for the theory exam, you will not be able to interact with any other software. You will only be able to see the screen that has all the questions and just answer. Like, you wouldn't be able to minimize it and use another software. That is not allowed. But for the practical exam, you don't have to use Safe Exam Browser, because you will have to use the server. So I have this open now, and so let's try to answer these questions. Now for the same concept here, again, you have a bunch of questions you need to answer. You can see how many marks that question is worth, and then you just read the question. So try to enter the home directory of any fellow student. You don't have permission to do so. Why? So if, for example, we know that all the student, not the student, but all the directories on a system, on a server in Linux, is basically stored under home, right? So if you do ls -l/home, you can see all the accounts that are there. Okay, let me do it again. Okay, you can see all the accounts that are there. Now, what they're trying to tell you is pick any student. We know a student account usually starts with A, right? So let's say I pick this account here. I want to basically try to enter their directory. And they're saying that you will not be able to do this. Why? Because on this directory, in the group, okay, so because you are also a student, you belong to the same group as any other student, right? You will see that here every student account is belonging to the student group. So you also belong to the student group, right? So basically, on every student account in the group section, there are no permissions, right? We know the first three set of permissions are for the owner, the next three are for the group, and then the last three are for the others class, right? For the group here, you don't have execute permission. In order to enter a directory, you need execute permission. Just remember this concept. If you want to cd into a directory, you need to have execute permission on that directory. Now here we belong to the same group, so if in the group permission there was execute here, then I would be able to go to their directory. But because I don't have that execute permission, I will not be able to enter the directory. So the correct answer, let's read this. When you look at permissions of the home directory, you can see that you are part of group class and that class does not have execute permission. This is wrong because we didn't look at the permission for home directory. We were looking at the permission of the directory that we were trying to enter, or the student account that we were trying to enter, right? I didn't look at the permission in the home. I looked at the permission. I did ls/home, but then I am actually looking at the permissions for that particular folder. So that's incorrect. When you look at the permissions of the directory of your fellow student, you can see that you're part of the group class and that class does not have execute permission. So this is the correct answer. But we'll read through the remaining to see what is wrong about them. When you look at the permissions of the directory of your fellow student, you can see that you are part of the others class. You're not part of the others class because you belong to the same group, which is student. Every student this is their group, right? So all of us, all of the students belong to the student group. So you don't belong to the others group. What I'm trying to say is all of you are put in the same group. So you belong to the group class. You do not belong to the other class. So that is incorrect. And then the last one, when you look at the permissions of the home directory, you can see that you are part of the group class and that class does not have execute permission. I feel like it's same as the first one. And it's incorrect because we didn't look at the home directory. We were looking at the, what's it called? The directory of the student we're trying to access. So the correct is B. The correct option here is B. The next one, navigate to the directory midterm practice working with files in your home directory. There are 4 files located there. Which is the smallest in size? So I don't have this directory, midterm practice working files. I don't have access to this, but let me see if it's there in home. Okay, I don't have access to that folder. But what you will do basically is you will go to that folder which is working with files, and then you will do ls-l, and then you can see you'll find the file among these 4 files. You will check which one has the lowest size. This column, the one that says 25, 25 to all of that, this represents the size. So you will check which is the lowest number in that among those 4 files. Whichever one is the lowest one will be the correct answer. I do not know which one is the lowest one right now, but if you do even manual for ls, you can even sort it by size. So if I write slash and then size, yeah, size minus small s, print the allocated, minus s, sort by file size. Okay, quit. And then if you do ls minus sl, it will sort based on the size, and this file has the smallest size. You can do that as well, whichever way you're comfortable. So I'm not sure what's the correct answer for this one, but I'll just choose file 3 for now. I don't know if it's correct. Okay. The Linux manual is used to get information on commands. If you want to search for a pattern in a file, you can use the grep command. We know that. What option can be used with the grep command so that the search for the pattern is not case sensitive? Okay, so I will clear this for now. What they're trying to tell you to do is check the manual for the grep command, okay, and try to find the option that will search with that will make the search not case sensitive. Okay, now what one way of figuring this out is you just scroll down the manual by pressing down key, and then just keep looking for the word case or sensitive, or you can press slash. Notice here at the bottom of the file, here it when I pressed slash, it wrote slash for me, right? So slash and then just write case, and it will find that word in the manual for you. Now here it highlighted this area, right? Because it has the word case. So the correct answer would be -I, because that's the option that will ignore the case while searching. Okay, so that's the correct one. Now navigate to the folder Midterm Practice Permissions in your home directory. Locate the file named identifypermissions.txt. If you use the chmod command to add execute permissions to the group class and remove read permissions from the other class of the file, what permissions will the file have then? I don't know, again, because I don't have those folders. But let's say this question was about running the command to change the permission, right? So in this case, you will write chmod. You want to add execute permission to group. Okay, so that means G add execute. Okay, and then remove read permission from other, comma, from others remove read permission. And then you would just write the name of the file along with the folder. So the folder is midterm practice, all of that, slash identify permissions.txt. That would be the command if you wanted to change the permission. Now from the options here, we can try to guess. Here you want to remove the read permission for the other class. If you run that command, the last 3 digits should not have read permission, right? In all the other options, you have read permissions in the other class, which is the last 3 characters. But for the last one, you don't have the read permission. So this will be the correct answer. Why? Because eventually you want to remove read permission from the other class, which means there will be no R in the last 3 characters for the permission. Okay, and then the last one, navigate to the folder Midterm Practice in your home directory. There are 4 files located there. Using the knowledge of naming convention used for archive files in Linux, identify the archive file. Now we know that if you want to create an archive file, you need to use the extension tar. If you want to create a zip file, you need to use the extension zip. If you need to create a zip file for gzip, then we use g and z .gz, and then bzip2 will be bz2. So again, this is part of theory knowledge, part of practical knowledge, but then you look at this folder and you will see which one is the correct one. But using the naming convention, the correct one should be .tar. Okay, so that is it, I think. Finish attempt. And again, you can go back and review. It's up to you. But once you're done with all of that, you can just submit all and finish. And oh, it's full. Okay. So that's how you will do your exam. Again, once you're done with your exam, you can see if your answers were correct or they were incorrect. And yeah, like I mentioned before, permissions is very important. Please go over it as many times as you can. Um, Absolute relative path, important. Grep, word count, and then VI commands also. Searching maybe in the VI command is also important. Searching in manual is important. Um, yeah, those are all the important topics. Practice them as many times as you can so you become comfortable with it. But don't worry, you will have cheat sheet available during your exam. So even if you forget the command, you'll have help through cheat sheet, or you can even use manual. Manual is the best help I think you can use during exam. And yeah, all the very best. If you have any questions, let me know. You can email me anytime. And yeah, all the very best. I hope you all do well. I believe you all, and I know all of you will do great. All right, take care and see you next time.